And now you should be able to hear something. Testing. 1, 2. 1, 2 test. Two of last weekend's main protagonists are set to go head-to-head to round out round 22. A big clash here at Churchill Reserve in the Sunday afternoon sun as the two teams who secured the headline-making upsets in the previous weekend's action go head-to-head as St Albans Saints play host to Altona Magic. These two sides knocking off top four opposition last week. It was at this very site 7 days ago that St Albans Saints and their fans were crashing against the fence that is just off your picture at the moment after Joey Monek's heroic 85th minute winner saw them upset Heidelberg United, I should say, to secure a much needed 3 points to lift them off the bottom of the table, while the only upset that could lay claim to being more significant than that one was created by the opponents they faced today, Altona, knocking off the ladder leaders, the reigning champions Avondale, by a scoreline of 1-0. Daniel Fabrizio, who returns today, a former St Albans Saints player, scoring the winner on that day. He is in the starting 11, which has just the one change for the visitors. Mohammed El Hawley drops out of the squad altogether, and John Stochevski comes into the 11. It's a double change to last week's victorious side for St Albans, and two big absentees, or one big absentee, one of them dropping to the bench. Captain Michael Gergich misses through an accumulation of yellow cards. Max King is placed onto the bench, while Chris Dibb not only replaces the captain, Michael Gergich, positionally, but also in terms of that leadership responsibility. He wears the captain's armband in the middle of the defence, while young product Luca Cabrera, who was very bright off the bench in that win against Heidelberg United, gets just his second start in NPL Victoria. So they made big waves, these two sides, last week, with massive, massive results that have breathed some new life into their respective ambitions. For St Albans, it is the quest of avoiding the drop. They could go out of the bottom two today with another win after rooting themselves out of the bottom of the table last week with a win, hoping to make it 2 in 2. Back-to-back wins for the first time this season, while for Altona, a big 3 points today could put them within touching distance of their hunt towards the top 6, which was reignited by that win against Avondale. Only 4 points back from Dandenong City in the 6. And so they could close to within a whisker if they take all 3 points today. And they'll be hoping to do the double over St Albans. It was but the 1 goal margin last time they met back in round 9. Darcy Anastovsky scoring from the spot to separate the two sides on the day. And it's not just the previous meeting that suggests this game could favour Altona. Their ladder position, of course, it is 9th, playing 13th today. And who knows what that confidence-boosting win against Heidelberg will do to this St Albans outfit, who, let's not forget, signed 6 players. But it is also the history books. The NPL head-to-head just edges in favour of Altona Magic, but it is here at Churchill Reserve where they are undefeated in the NPL era in the league. In fact, they have to go all the way back to the 6th of May 2012 for the last time St Albans secured a league win on their home turf against Altona. Back in the State League 1 days, Goran Kuna's goal in the 28th minute was the difference. So St Albans looking to make it 2 wins in 2, get out of the bottom 2, and break a pretty significant hoodoo against Altona at Churchill Reserve. And Joseph Choliner has turned into trouble, continuing to lock down the midfield, but he's won the ball back nicely in the end. It's a good ball across for Joey Monak. What a great first touch. The second wasn't half bad either. Joey Monak! Oh, the crowd was up, expectant of the same result as what the St Albans great was able to fashion in the 85th minute of last week's game. He did everything perfectly but the finish there. And unlike last week's winner against Heidelberg United, the back of the net was not to bulge, but he didn't do much else wrong, Joey Monak. What a delightful dribble. Anastovsky herring down on the ball. And robbed of it by Summerskill. Michael Mammis, though, not liking what he saw, the contact before Summerskill reached the football. So Darcy Anastovsky, who was the hero of the previous meeting between the two sides, is earning an early free kick. Definitely will be one for Dinamo to watch out for today. Darcy Anastovsky, 5 goals this season, only one of them in the last 9 rounds though. We'll be looking at today as a big chance to return to the scorer's sheet. And one of the league's top scorers is here today in Buljuach. He's recently hit double digits. Looks as though the free kick won't look to set up either of those two. Johnny Stachewski's left boot or the right of Saad Mukashar. It just dips. Oh, and it's spilled in the middle. The flag goes up. And Daniel Fabrizio has his hands in his mouth. And Marko Bulic, gee, has survived a bit of a scare. It would have been 2 opening goals in 2 weeks for Daniel Fabrizio and a goal against his former side. Not to be. You might have noticed that the bounce of that ball just caught Marko Bulic out of fraction. We have had a lot of rain in Victoria this week, and you'll be able to see the parts of the pitch that are feeling the effects. Pre-match pitch inspection, it was heavy across the ground. It's not the most lush turf, so a bit of rain can do a fair bit of damage to what is otherwise a usually quite sandy pitch. Fabrizio stopped in his tracks by Summerskill, and this time illegally so. Been a willing contest so far. An entertaining opening 5 minutes. Of course, if you missed last week and you're thinking that as a Melbourne Victory fan, that number 6 looks familiar, he is, of course, none other than Melbourne Victory great Lee Broxham. He marked his first game outside of Victory after 18 seasons in the A-League, with not only a win, but a clean sheet as well. Just the 4th of the season for St Albans Saints, and he did certainly...
Don't go on, because you hit the nuts. Fine. Jacob!
Had
in the nuts?
Some important... What's the right word?
Come on!
Comfort at the back. Assuredness, I think would be the right term. He's kept things composed, and luckily Jacob Serverain has recovered from a nasty knock, and Joey Monek is continuing to entertain. Here's Josh Fowler, one of the new signings, his second game. Spacing with Monek is not the best, and finds support in the form of Serverain. Buljuach back to cover. That was looking a little light minutes before kickoff, but you'll be able to see them when St Albans have a corner. And the fans on the hill have built nicely. Here is Lee Broxham. Sprays that. What a delightful pass for Serverain. Monek robbed of it by Mukashar. Buljuach with a couple of clever touches and set on his way by Liberto. These are the moments that Buljuach loves, streaming down the right-hand side. Can he find a teammate in the middle or potentially fashion a shooting angle? It's lifted towards the back post. Fabrizio down for Liberto. And Mukashar shaped to shoot, but went short. Fabrizio's touch, a poor one, and Lucas Burns can carry it away for some of his first touches of the contest. Stopped in his tracks, though, by John Stachewski. Recently celebrated 200 games in Altona Magic colours, did John Stachewski. It's great to see him honoured with a big official ceremony as well at Paisley Park. Only a handful of players have been able to lay claim to that honour in the history books of Altona. I'm pretty sure one of them is his now coach. Here is the resultant free kick. Has some decent shape, but Bulic able to double punch away. And Fowler, his first touch was clever to free himself. His second is probably going to see him run out of real estate. Oh, it was a close run thing.
Next job!
It's a close run thing into the fence. Gust for Juach. Oh, fancy footwork from Buljuach. Fabrizio is picking up plenty at the moment. His battle with Michael Martinovic. A stiff one so far. Martinovic, who was, for my money at least, player of the match in his St Albans debut last week. Two players alongside Joey Monek, who featured in the NPL Victoria Team of the Week. Lee Broxham, maybe a bit stiff to miss out, perhaps. There's another man who did make the Team of the Week, Christian Rossi. What a heroic performance from the Altona captain last week in that 1-0 win against Avondale.
Happy Easter.
Making a handful of saves during the win against Avondale, 5 to be exact, and a double save in the 96th minute from the penalty spot, denying Blake Carpenter once and then twice, with what proved to be the last kick of the game in the Autism Cup played between Avondale and Altona.
Hello, my name is Jeff.
There's Anastovsky. Fabrizio further forward. And Chris Dibb marks his return to the starting 11 with an important challenge. Anastovsky not best pleased with the choice of pass. Here's Stephen Lawless. Anastovsky. Summerskill stood tall in the challenge, and there's a bit of an opening here, but it's cut out really cleverly by Delitas. Broxham able to just lift that one out for a throw. Usually in his first game, Lee Broxham's clearance was the last possible option, even when he was under pressure, usually able to find a short option, but against the pace of Buljuach at 36 years of age, you can forgive Broxy that one. A good turn from Lawless, but there is Lee Broxham to snuff out the danger.
Joey, that's happened a couple of times now in there, and they're ready for that, so maybe just hang out on it, yeah?
Sovereign, back to Broxham. Oh, Bulich has to be careful, the net is empty! And Altona take the lead! And Daniel Fabrizio wasn't to be denied for long. The man who scored the opener, the winner against Avondale, is on the board in consecutive weeks, this time against St Albans. A goal against his former side, but painfully for Dynamo, a goal of their defence's own making. Altona will not score an easier goal all year. It's a situation where we know that they like to emphasise passing it out from the back, but Marco Bulich just caught out a little bit, and Stephen Lawless could have attempted to rifle it home first time, but had the presence of mind to pop it into the middle where Daniel Fabrizio made good on his earlier goal, flagged for offside. I'll be really frustrated by that. St Albans and Cam Watson. Easy to forget that they could have taken the lead inside the opening couple of minutes through Joey Monek. And you get the feeling, don't run the commentator's curse too early into this fixture, but you get the feeling that there will be more goals to come here. It's a pretty open game, and the heaviness of the turf is creating some unexpectedness. Fabrizio. Back for Mukashar. Liberto, here's the other former St Albans player out there today. Just a handful of games for the former Brunswick Juventus man for Dynamo in 2021. Cabrera to Monek. Fowler, the only man further afield. We've seen him show his ability on the dribble, but laterally he goes for Lucas Burns. And he's not happy with himself, Joey Monek, and I can't exactly disagree. He is by far, where NPL Victoria appearances for St Albans are concerned, the most experienced man out there today, without Captain Michael Gergich at the back of the defence. Stochevski was a bit shallow, swing and a miss from Nathan Liberto. Drops perfectly into the lap of Fowler. Monek, the first touch was heavy, but Alex Gus didn't read it, and so forced into the foul, and forced into the book by Michael Mammis. So, a biting opening 15 minutes here at Churchill Reserve. Plenty to talk about. One goal to separate the sides, not one that St Albans will be in a hurry to watch back. Daniel Fabrizio, the former Saint, opening the scoring after it was coughed up fairly cheaply by the St Albans defence. A bit of an error from Marco Bulic. But they could strike back swiftly from the free kick. We saw Brian Summerskill, who stands over this alongside Luca Cabrera, hit the crossbar from some 35 yards out from goal with a lob, or attempted lob, over the top of Yaron Souza last week. What can he do here? Summerskill lies to turn provider, and that is just hacked away by Jordan Delitis.
Good, keep looking for it. Good, Summers.
Summerskill into the body of Liberto, who can have a second bite at the cherry and pick up Buljuach. Cholina kept a cool head. Sovereign. The idea was right, but the connection with the teammates just a bit awry. You could usually forgive that of a side that have made 6 signings in the mid-season window, or made 6 signings in the mid-season window, but Jacob Sovereign and Joey Monek have been, well, not one of those 6 signings, either of them. Two former teammates going at it in Daniel Fabrizio and Chris Dibb. Griffith's a ominous return to the starting 11 for Chris Dibb. He was red carded last time Altona came to Churchill Reserve. Nearly a year to the day, 363 days ago. Altona won 4-1. Jonas Markowski and Sian Cuba both scoring twice. They've had different stories this season. There have been kindred spirits this year in that regard, with the amount of turnover they've had to contend with in season 2024. And you look back at the 11s that played in their last meeting here at Churchill Reserve a year ago. Only 4 of the players for St Albans in that starting 11 remain today. Only 2 for Altona. One of them is Captain Christian Rossi, and the other is Matias Gonzalez on the bench. So there's been a lot of turnover for both of these sides. As Altona pressed for a second, Fabrizio was the target. And Liberto contested. Stochevski just snatched at it. He doesn't score too often, John Stochevski. Only 3 goals across 112 NPL Victoria games. This is 113th. Although one of those 3 was against St Albans back in round 13, 2022. Boot through the ball from Bulic. Juach lost it in the air. Monek bounced awkwardly. And Mukacha just scoops it towards Buljuach. Broxham was equal to the task, but it's been fascinating to observe how he's dealt with the challenge of Buljuach. That's a lovely pass. Cabrera missed it in the middle. Good interception from Aaron O'Driscoll, who stood tall, and there might be space in the opposite direction. Stephen Lawless gets the eyes up, lifts it into the box, but that is easy pickings for Marco Bulic. An end-to-end contest, this one. Oh, just getting a little bit unlucky so far, St Albans. Making a lot of the right runs, but sometimes the connection of the passes, just not the passes themselves, but the players passing the ball have been a little bit off. As Alex Gust is on the deck. 20th appearance of the season for the former Victory youth player Alex Gust. One of the bouquet of signings for Altona this season. It's hard to forget, you know, on pre-season estimations, how unlikely this Altona side being within a significant touching distance of a potential finals berth to end the season, back-to-back finals berths I should add, seemed going into this year. Goran Lozanovsky has done a fantastic job to pull together a side that is stringing some results together and playing some nice football here. Anastovsky in the middle for Juach. Couldn't get on the end of it, but the chance not dead though. Juach twisting, turning, firing. Broxham getting his head in the way, and Bulic punching clear. It's coming a little bit too easily for them, for the liking of Cam Watson. That left-hand side has
Joey, the sixers need to be closer. They can't
been open a fair bit for Altona to exploit. And Goran Lozanovsky took charge of the Magic at the start of the year, returning to the club. I believe they had somewhere in the vicinity of just 3 players permanently signed for the next year. So he had to do a hefty and late recruiting drive. And players came from lots of clubs, lots of leagues, and some of them have proved to be real quality. Here's one of them in Mukacha, who pings it towards Fabrizio, but cut out by the St Albans defence. Cholina. It just falls at the feet of Michael Martinovic, who goes searching for Josh Fowler, and he's found him too, you know. Fowler. A bit of a peripheral figure in this game, but that was a really nice move. Burns in the middle, but over the head of Joey Monek. Cholina. Great gut running to keep it alive at the back post for St Albans. Summerskill. Burns, and lumped away by Gust. Bulic, great composure. Monek. St Albans looking to respond. Driven into the box and repelled by Deletus. And that's going to work out for Buljuach. Isolated with Broxham once again. The numbers filter in. Anastovsky! Darcy Anastovsky does it again against St Albans. A 1-2 punch from the Magic. And their 2 top scorers combine to double the lead for the visitors. A great finish from Anastovsky, who was on the scorer sheet again, but the ball from Bull was brilliant. And just as it seemed that St Albans were maybe working their way back towards equalizer contention, Altona's attack blew them away in the opposite direction. It was a good finish at full stretch from Anastovsky. Able to contort his body really nicely, but was put into a beautiful area by Buljuach. There'll be an instant response, though, for St Albans. Monek to the top of the box. Burns trying to drop it into the lap of Ryan Summerskill, who has ended up with the football anyway and dropped it in behind for Fowler, who is offside. It's not the first time the Scotsman has not been the friend of the linesman's flag since arriving in NPL Victoria. Coming across from Gulf United in the UAE Pro League. I feel like we've seen a lot of hard toil from the 22-year-old so far, but not as many chances as the young Scottish striker would have liked. And he and they will need to score in quickly if they're going to give themselves a chance of getting a point or all three in this game. Update of the ladder equation for those who are playing at home. St Albans sitting in 13th, 2 points back from Manningham, so only a win would take them out of the bottom two. A point would still help. It still remains an open-ended question as to whether or not it'll be one team or two going down in 2024. As we approach the final 4 rounds of the season, it makes for a very nervy situation, and Gust has to be careful. He's on a card. And I think Goran Lozanovsky, you might be able to hear through our effects mic, is just making that point to the youngster. Taken quickly, Summerskill through the lines, Fowler, a check of the head, left and right. Didn't get a lot of movement either side, so might have to go it himself. Josh Fowler nipped in the bud by Mukashar. Broxham dips it to Sovereign. That pass is a bit hot. Stachevski just wraps his boot around the ball. Broxham misjudged it a fraction. Anastovsky uses the shoulder to help it on its way, and Cholina back to Bullich. And Altona's pressure forces the turnover. They've been really good so far, the Magic. Pressing hard. Quick to make life difficult for St Albans' defence, looking to build from the back. And the other half of that ladder equation, by the way. Altona sitting in 9th position. Broxham. 27 minutes played here at Churchill Reserve. 2 goals already, both of them for Altona. St Albans needing to answer back swiftly. They are maybe, you definitely would agree that Altona have been the better side so far today, but you could make the argument that 2-0 is a slightly unfair reflection on St Albans' effort in this game. Joey Monek will still be thinking about that chance in the 2nd minute that he missed, one-on-one with Christian Rossi. Monek searching for Fowler, but cut out by O'Driscoll. It's been a great pickup in the centre of defence, the Irishman, Martinovic. Pushed it to Fowler, or Burns rather. It's Lucas Burns. Cross takes a touch at a corner for St Albans. So something for them to attack from a set-piece perspective. Unsurprisingly, this game keeping to the form line of this fixture over the years. 6 of their 8 meetings in the NPL Victoria era have ended with 3 goals or more, 5 with 4+. The reverse fixture's 1-0, the only exception, or the major exception to that rule. This one is a goal away from continuing that form. Cholina gives chase. And they have to be careful here. If Anastovsky was around Martinovic, Juarez and Fabrizio were both a significant danger. Monek. Get it through his former teammate Fabrizio. Broxham judged it better than Juarez could. Just overcooked it. Well read by Nathan Liberto. Mukashar. You can see what he was trying. Put it into the path of Bull Juarez. Oh, who's pickpocketed Broxham. You could see the pull of the shirt. He might be in a bit of trouble here. The victory great. It's just a yellow card. And it was not even remotely disguised from the victory veteran. I think the fact that it wasn't a goal-scoring position about the only thing saving Lee Broxham there. So we've got a defender on either side in the book now. Altona make it 3. It could be all she wrote. Stochevsky's left-footed in swinger, and Broxham atones for the sin. Liberto, Lawless, gets the decision. Joey Monek, but not best pleased. Stephen Lawless won't be complaining. Inches away from the scene of the incident, the Irish midfielder Stephen Lawless as Stochevsky preps another left footer. It's well weighted, but fisted away by Bullich. Anastovsky tried to light up Churchill Reserve with a volley out of the cloudy skies. The heavens have opened here at Churchill Reserve. It's been raining intermittently throughout the day. Much wind to speak of. A short corner from Altona. Goran Lozanovsky not best pleased with the poor pass as Monek is in behind. Fowler has overcooked it though. Christian Rossi was agile and really spared the blushes of Nathan Liberto on that occasion. The space is definitely available for St Albans if they can pick those gaps. So that 2-0 can be a very dangerous scoreline. They don't say that about 3 though. That's what St Albans have got to be careful about. They may be regaining their ground in this game, but they need to test Christian Rossi more. Maybe this drive presents an opportunity as Monek is round 1 and will take the corner. I don't think he necessarily meant to take that first touch in the way that he did, Joey Monek, but he will take the result, which is a corner for the hosts. A chance to get a goal on the board that they desperately need. It would be just their 20th goal of the season, which is the least of any side. Well, they have struggled to find the back of the net. It's been an easier proposition here at Churchill Reserve. 77% of those goals have come here. Cabrera couldn't bring it under his spell. Martinovic buys a yard and heads to the byline, fizzes it in. Rossi just plucked it. Delitas. Buljuach chasing it down. Bulic heads away. He's had plenty of work to do as a sweeper keeper, Marco Bulic. That was clever from Sovereign. I don't think that was a pass that Altona were expecting. They've maybe flown under the radar, Magic, in the last month or so. Only one defeat in their last 5 games going into this one. If you look past the 4-0 loss to South Melbourne in the middle of those 5 games, it's been a pretty good rap sheet. Towards the back post, Bulic, comfortable collection. 1-0 win against Avondale. Knocked off Port Melbourne thanks to Buljuach in the 88th minute. A draw against Gully and a 4-0 win against the Thunder. Fowler. Back to Sovereign. 10 minutes remaining in this first half. Altona leading at 2-0. Goals from Daniel Fabrizio and Darcy Anastovsky. Martinovic. Broxson. Sovereign curls it towards the penalty spot. And Fowler shows his appreciation, but we'll see he displays his judgment. Stochevski left it short. Martinovic made it easy pickings. Has shown Cam Watson a propensity for making early subs if required. I think he went 6 of his 6 first games in charge. He made a sub at half-time. Cabrera falls back to him by Fortune. Burns able to keep it alive, and Martinovic had almost given up on the ball. Cabrera centrally for Liberta, who just helps it on its way to Summerskill. This is better from St Albans. And now Burns with numbers in the middle to the back post. And the same old story that has plagued Dinamo's first half repeats. It looks enterprising, it looks promising. Drive it up until that entry into the penalty area. The final ball, the last delivery has just been wanting. If they run home to end the season, this is arguably one of St Albans' biggest chance to take a win. Oakley, Dandenong Thunder, Green Gully and South Melbourne to end the season. And we still don't know if 2 teams will go down, so it may very well be the case that they need points. Buljuach, that was beautiful, and the favour return from Anastovsky wasn't half bad either. It's Buljuach, nipped in the bud by Lee Broxson. Anastovsky and Juach have been fantastic so far today, particularly in combination. And they've won it well here. But O'Driscoll gets it in the perfect position. This game has had its fair share of fortune. Much of it has fallen the way of Altona so far. Is luck going to break for St Albans now? It's in the middle for Fowler. He couldn't free his feet to fire a shot. His goal-scoring ability is not in question, Josh Fowler. Prior to playing in the UAE, he'd scored 32 goals in a season in the West of Scotland Premier Division for Beath Juniors. Hasn't been able to show too much of that attacking threat in his first 130 minutes as a St Albans player. Sholino. Martinovic. Already feels like this game is at such a critical juncture. Points at a premium as we race towards the finish line of this season. Lucas Burns driving forward. Lucas Burns still going and firing wide. Now that is better from the home side. And Lucas Burns just continued to eat up the space afforded to him by the Altona defence. And the shot off target in the end, but it's progress when you consider that they've struggled to give Christian Rossi too much to think about since a very early chance for Joey Monek. Walker-Shah twisting and turning. There was a bit of friendly fire from Michael Mammis. The referee inadvertently in the way. Clearly broke perfectly for Altona Magic, and it could still. Anastovsky just checks inside and invites the run of Daniel Fabrizio. It was a good intention, the execution just a fraction awry. And the good thing for St Albans, some very good options off the bench if they want to call on them. The likes of Alan Jerez and Josh Diven made a real difference against Heidelberg United last week. Also got Carter Ramsey, Max King and Nelson Tushungo as the other available outfielders. Anastovsky receiving some treatment, and it looks as though his race has actually run. Well, that's a significant potential fly in the ointment here. Altona, after 42 minutes played, will make a substitution, and Darcy Anastovsky, the scorer of the second goal of the day, is going to leave the field. You can see the little pink slip that fourth official James Langoya has been handed confirms that Darcy Anastovsky's day is done. And it's not exactly a like-for-like replacement coming on in his stead. Ismail Haji to enter the field. What will be just his 12th appearance of the season for the Somali international. Those figures slightly impacted by the fact that he has represented Somalia this season. He's one of 4 NPL Victoria players to do so, alongside Werribee Ibrahim Mohammed and the 2 Yusuf Ahmeds at Avondale. You can see Darcy Anastovsky on the touchline here, just clutching at his left hamstring. So interested to see how Goran Lozanovsky moves the magnets now. Ismail Haji, not necessarily a like-for-like replacement for Altona's number 9. But is that the break of luck, the changing of equation that reopens the door for St Albans? Oh, that's fell very nicely for Daniel Fabrizio. The fancy footwork on Buljuarch. Fractions away from striking on goal, but for the intervention, and a very solid one, it must be said, from Jacob Sovereign. James Langoya is going to add 2 minutes onto the first half. And you would imagine that in those 2 minutes, St Albans will be quite happy just to keep the scoreline to 2-0. Altona could maybe put the result beyond doubt at 3. We do have a broken 4th official board as well. More on that later, though, as Altona get the ball to the substitute, Ismail Haji. That is definitely the first touch of an unexpected early sub. The 4th official board earlier in the game copped a hefty clearance and is now shattered on one side. So you may notice that when it gets raised later in the game. There is significant work to do as we approach the second 45 for the home side. Looking to break a run of 12 years without a league win against Altona at Churchill Reserve. A late goal could give them something to think about. Monek couldn't find an opening. Sovereign. Sholina. They've had a lot of joy down the left. Have Dinamo. Dib. Fowler. Judged it best in flight. Used his body cleverly. Just couldn't work it back to Joey Monek. In fact, it'll be 3 minutes out of by James Langoya.
3 more minutes, I'm surely watching
You can see every time St Albans turn back to head towards their keeper, how desperately Goran Lozanowski is to bring his charges up. And you can understand why, given how the press work has worked for them so far. They're maybe being picked apart at the other end. Fowler rolls it back for Sovereign into the middle. It goes! And Luca Cabrera gets the goal for St Albans.
Let's go!
Gets his first goal for St Albans. And the spark of hope reignited by one of their young sparks. Luca Cabrera, the 18-year-old youth product. He's been with the club since 2016 and in front of the home fans. He's had a moment to savour, and one that could blow this game wide open. What a moment for the youngster. And now this game is really delicately poised before the break. And now it's Altona who might be desperate to get into the sheds. Fabrizio looking to jink past Martinovic. Tried to pull off the back heel, it didn't come off. The challenge was ferocious, but the response was firm from St Albans. Could they strike again swiftly? What a turn of events this would be. Lucas Burns to the byline, keeps it alive, but only for a moment. It'll be a goal kick, and nothing more. That's got the St Albans fans on the hill back into voice. So too it should. A well-worked goal. And a good header from Luca Cabrera. He was elevated to a senior deal this season. And back when he arrived at the club, or was with the club since 2016, he was playing under-13s junior NPL. And he made his debut in the seniors earlier this year, and he's continuing to cause more problems. Cabrera went in. The youthful exuberance comes to naught that time around. He got the assist for the winner last week as well. He didn't get his first NPL Victoria start until round 18 against Moreland City. You paint that picture and you can start to see why Cam Watson has put his faith in putting the youngster into the starting 11.
3, 2, 1,
because that very youngster has put St Albans back in the game as we head to the half-time interval at 2-0 down after goals from Daniel Fabrizio and Darcy Anastovsky. A game, for a moment, looked dead and buried. St Albans were a long way back, but a couple of strokes of fortune breaking the way of the home side. An injury for the second goal scorer, Darcy Anastovsky, and a first St Albans league goal for young 18-year-old talent Luca Cabrera. Set us up for a very big second 45. The 3 points are so important for both sides. St Albans looking to save themselves. Altona looking to find a potential finals berth. It's all to play for in the second 45. We'll join you for it shortly, but here at halftime at Churchill Reserve, the halftime score, St Albans Saints 1, Altona Magic 2.
subs.
– 45 minutes to play, all to play for here at Churchill Reserve. The final game of round 22 has served up quite a tantalising game of football so far. A potentially season-defining second half awaiting for both sides. Altona lead it by a scoreline of 2-1, but that is living a charmed life at the moment. The corner diverted around the post by Jordan Deletis. 2-1 the scoreline, but that doesn't tell the full story. Altona were 2 goals to the good. Daniel Fabrizio opening the scoring after 13 minutes. Darcy Anasovsky doubled their money. And after his injury and substitution, things changed. And Luca Cabrera, who takes the corner, brought them back into it. And Rossi clutches it. Not confidently, but able to dive back onto the turf to take some sting out of it. 2-0. It just seemed like it wasn't going to be St Albans Saints' day, but that goal right before half-time, a first league goal for St Albans for Luca Cabrera, the young talent, means that this game is still well and truly alive. Will it be 3 points for Altona to take them within a point of that final spot in the top 6? Or will St Albans Saints stage a rousing comeback to pull themselves out of the bottom 2? 2 wins in as many games, and their first against the Magic at Churchill Reserve in the league since May 2012. Strap in. Good folks at home. Mikey Flanagan with you on NPL Victoria YouTube for what should be a big half of football in wait. And it's had a bright start. Lawless. Well, there were 3 Altona runners on his left shoulder, and he travelled right. So they just have to hold up for the moment. It's the easiest collection of the day for Marko Bulic, who did not have an easy life in the opening half. It was his dalliance, hesitation on the ball that coughed it up in the box for Altona. And Stephen Lawless to feed it to Daniel Fabrizio to tap into an empty net for the opening goal. This might present a chance, though, for St Albans. The big thing for them is in the second half, they will have the wind that has picked up a little bit here at Churchill Reserve at their backs. Oh, and more trouble here. Burns denied at full stretch by Gust, who was on a cart, had to get it perfect, and did.
Play it! Get it!
We have had a great many goal fests between these two sides in NPL Victoria history, and this one is continuing apace. To the turf, penalty, St Albans! Lucas Burns went to ground. Michael Mammis didn't hesitate. And in the space of a handful of minutes either side of the half, St Albans could go from 2-0 down to level pegging. And up steps Brian Summerskill, who has not missed a penalty all season. He has scored 4 goals this year. All of them at home, all of them from the spot. He is perfect from this moment. And he will have to get the beating of a man who has shown his proficiency when it comes to the art of saving penalties. Christian Rossi, the Altona captain. He saved Altona's bacon in the 96th minute last week. What can he do here? Up steps Summerskill! We're level at Churchill Reserve. It's Summerskill who saves the day and brings Dynamo back from behind. And it took just the blink of an eye either side of the halftime interval. Game on in the final game of round 22. Christian Rossi couldn't do much from Summerskill's penalty effort. 5 from 5 from the spot this season. And that was confidently struck to the left. And this game that after 24 minutes looked Altona's in totality is alive again. Lawless, robbed of it. Liberto legged, offside flag goes up against Daniel Fabrizio. We've mentioned how many goals tend to come in this fixture, but most of the time they're only for one side. The last 5 score lines, 1-0 Altona being only one of 2 games that's had less than 3 goals when these two sides have met in NPL Victoria. The previous scorelines before that, in their 5 meetings, 4-1 Altona, 5-1 Altona, 5-1 St Albans, 4-0 Altona Magic. So we've had 22 goals across the last 5 meetings, but most of the results have been blowouts. This is the first time we've got 4 goals, 2 apiece for either side. Luca Cabrera brought Dynamo back within reach in first half stoppage time. And Brian Summerskill brought them level after 50 minutes. We have a real contest on our hands for 2 sides that need the points desperately for 2 different reasons. St Albans looking to save themselves from the drop. Altona trying to find a final spot in the top 6. Fowler given one to chase. Deletus showed too much of the ball to the Scotsman, but he couldn't do much more than prevent a goal kick. And they'll try and lock it in here, Dynamo. 6 minutes on each side of the break. That's all it took for Dynamo to go from 2-0 down to 2 apiece. Altona take it short. Aaron O'Driscoll to John Stachewski. Interesting to see that Joey Monek has jumped across to the right-hand side after being so bright down the left. Martinovic ran out of real estate, and Monek, I believe, was coming from an offside position. Good communication between the referees there, Michael Mammis and his assistant referee, and Will Sampson. With 4 rounds remaining after this one, this game just feels important. Both sides playing with a knowledge of what the 3 points today could mean. Fabrizio marching forward into the body of Bullich. Burns. Tried to clip it to Fowler. Cholina. It was a fine line, but he kept the ball. There's a St Albans possession. Martinovic being urged to retain by Cam Watson. He will be delighted, not just with the way that his side has started this second half, but how they have come back. Won just 2 games. His first 9 in charge. This is 10th. Burns. Fowler muscled off it by Gust. But they win it back quickly. Good counter-pressing from Dinamo. Mukashar. Busted in a dangerous area. Numbers ahead for St Albans here.
Come out!
Burns. Hooked again, this time accused of looking for it. Michael Mammis doesn't deliver a whistle. And Altona can motor in the opposite direction through Lawless. And Dib just held his ground. That was all he needed to do. Cabrera to Dib. And that is just a firm up and under. And I'll tell you what, it was a good first touch from the Altona assistant coach, but the bench of St Albans asking the question as to whether the ball was actually out.
Fucking get him under control! Lads, calm down!
Oh, Rossi lost his footing. It's been a problem area, that penalty box for St Albans. There's been a lot of rain here this week. It's a heavy pitch. Summerskill. Monek. Back to Bullich.
Let the ball!
There's maybe some nerves creeping into the frenetic energy of this fixture. Cholina, one of the youth success stories for St Albans over the last few years. Turned 21 on Monday and makes his 50th NPL Victoria appearance today, so congratulations to him. Classy from Lee Broxham. The home faithful enjoyed it. Burns. Liberto. How did he keep a hold of that ball? I don't know. He continues on, does Nathan Liberto. Laterally for Stoichevski. Game of fine margins right now. Everything is being scrapped for. Every gap. Every opening so important. Stoichevski lifts it in the Juach direction. It's flicked onto Haji. The first half substitute. Ground gives way beneath his feet. Fowler was really clever with the use of his head, and he's got the beating of Delitas, who's doubling back to try and cover him off. It's rolled in the Cabrera direction, but what a heroic intervention from Mr. Altona Magic himself, John Stoichevski. Crucial intervention from the 31-year-old in NPL Victoria game 113.
Don't give up the middle! Anything, Paul! Anything! Get up! Get up! Get over! Get over!
Lawless. For Juach to chase. Martinovic held his nerve. Summerskill was given the ball in a bit of a difficult position. Made it work. Monek clattered through the back of by John Stoichevski. And the 200-game Altona veteran takes his place in the book.
No. It's the exact same fucking tactics. I've not took around and fucking fought.
look at there, David. No, stay. But then, oh, yellow card. Bravo, come on. Yeah, yellow card. Shady. Hey. You can't call me. Joey. Easy, well done. Keep pushing, Magic, eh?
Come on, Joey. Come on, Joey.
Keep going, eh?
So two of that Altona back four in the book now. John Stoichescu joining Alex Gust. The two fullbacks walking the tightrope. And I wonder if Goran Lozanovsky might contemplate a change in that area of the park. Matias Gonzalez is a youngster who can do a job at fullback. I say that because I imagine that of his second half subs, Cam Watson will probably look to refresh the wingers. Did so with great effect last week against Heidelberg. The likes of Alan Jerez and Josh Diven coming on to really make a difference. This is the first time
Don't throw the ball on the ground. Don't throw the ball on the ground.
St Albans have scored twice in a game since the 18th of May, that 5-3 defeat to Port Melbourne. They've only scored 20 for the year. 21, I should say. After Summerskill's goal from the penalty spot. And they continue their good run of goals here at home. 16 of 21 at Churchill Reserve. It's a place they like to play. Ooh. Bit of a shove there from Joey Monek. Michael Mamis quick to have a quiet word after that altercation with Ishmael Haji. Fabrizio with back to goal. Delitas. Left footer held up in the turf a little bit, but Haji was in to see it through. Liberto was between a rock and a hard place there.
Come out, Mickey, come out, Mickey.
St Albans have really taken control of the possession since equalising. Maybe that will work to the advantage of Altona. They've got the speed with Buljuach to hit on the break. Summerskill loses out to Stephen Lawless. It's in the middle for Buljuach, who just couldn't lay it down in time and accurately for Liberto. Not a dumb thing though. Dip towards Fabrizio, but Summerskill able to deal with it. Quite the 30 minutes left in this game. Round 22 of NPL Victoria. Going out with a bang. We've got a Desmond at the moment. 2-2. And Altona, we've seen their 2-0 lead dissipate. Goals either side of the half from Luca Cabrera and Brian Summerskill. Broxham was being urged to shoot. Went for the sensible thing, which was getting it to Joey Monek! Are you kidding me? Joey Monek again in St Albans' hour of need. A collector's item from the Dynamo veteran. And you couldn't have picked a better way. You couldn't have picked a better person for the home side to seal a miraculous turnaround. What a strike from Joey Monek. The hero against Heidelberg. And he stepped up and scored a scorcher for St Albans against Altona. A scoreline that looked improbable but not impossible after 24 minutes played. What a hit from Joey Monek. And they might answer back swiftly. A little deflection. Works out for Bullich. Luck is on their side now, St Albans. Well, and to think that seconds ago, the home fans at Churchill Reserve were urging Lee Broxham to shoot. He went to pass it off to Joey Monek, and what a prescient call that was from the 200-game A-League veteran. And now it is St Albans with 36 minutes to play to hold out for a precious 3 points. It could be their first win against Altona at Churchill Reserve since 2012. 4,452 days since the 6th of May. Goran Kuna's goal was the difference in State League 1. That was then the 2nd division of Victorian football. And Joey Monek has scored a goal that could save them from falling to the 2nd division of Victorian football. What do Altona have in response? Lawless, stood up by Dibb. Hasn't missed a beat today, Chris Dibb. The bench becomes really interesting all of a sudden, because right now St Albans not just in control on the scoreboard, but they're in control of this game territorially, possession wise. But you just cannot understate what an important goal that could be when season 2024 is said and done from Joey Monek. In his 120th NPL Victoria appearance, he could potentially have sealed 6 points in back-to-back games that could rescue Dynamo from the drop. As much as Churchill Reserve has been a happy hunting ground where goals are concerned for St Albans this season, that goal against Heidelberg last week for Joey Monek was his first goal here at home in the league since St Albans sealed promotion to the top flight back in 2019. All his goals since have been on the road. Back-to-back weeks, you know, it's like London buses. You spend all this time waiting for one goal at home, and all of a sudden, two come at once.
Get Max warm.
They've both been brilliant. And as things stand, they have both proved to be the winner. I believe Cam Watson has requested that Josh Diven be sent to go through his paces.
Let me know, yeah? Can't afford to. Let me know. Get over here ready. Like, don't get him warm up anymore.
Cam Watson not exactly shutting up shop with a substitution like that.
What, is it the same thing? Well, we need to know ASAP, because I can't have a man down.
Actually, just stay here warm, yeah?
In fact, it's Max King who is warming up as cover for the injured Joseph Cholina. Broxham. Back to Bullich.
Yeah, when they're ready, they come up here.
And you can see that Joey Monek is still laboured in his movement. Cam Watson is going to make the sub. They need the ball to go out here to St Albans. They're not playing with 10, but they are sort of playing with 10.5 at the moment. Monek is almost at walking pace. Max King will come on to replace him. But the ball stayed in play. It's not in Altona's interest to put it out right now. Liberto. turned nicely. So too did Lawless. And Haji just couldn't control. Unfortunately for the hosts, Broxham's clearance stays in. Monek will continue to hobble his way through the final knockings of his day. Stochevsky. Fabrizio gets on his bike. Numbers amass in the middle. Stochevsky side-footed away by Chris Dibb. Mukashar, deft, Lawless, caught, legally so. We've got them hemmed in at the moment though, and they're taking advantage of this semi-advantage. Duach rolls it into the middle. Fabrizio rises. Bulic got there. Martinovic able to get it away more emphatically. Only as far as Mukashar though. Be a real sore point. If Altona equalise here, it drops for Duach. Summer skill. Round Haji. Beautiful stuff from the Englishman. And over the top to the Scotsman. Fowler. What can he fashion? Cam Watson just wants the ball to go out here. And still we play on. Still we play on. Duach. Lawless to his right. Fabrizio hammering down on his left. Lawless. Still Stephen Lawless. And it sits up nearly for Bull Duach. The Bulic controls. And Marco Bulic will look up to see his coach's bench absolutely screaming for this ball to be sent into touch. And it is. And finally Joey Monek can get the relief that he so desperately needs. Max King come onto the field. Appearance number 21 of the season for the 23-year-old. He's been subbed off 9 times this year, but this time he's coming on in place of Joseph Cholina. That bench is going to feel like a luxury couch, the finest massage chair that money could buy for Joey Monek right now, or Joseph Cholina, I should say. It's because he doesn't have to march around with an injury anymore. Absolutely intriguing end to this game awaits. Altona looks like they've refound their spark, and Martinovic just lumped it away. He hasn't ever been a coach to throw numbers behind the ball early, likes to keep attacking where possible. King had to be careful. Bulic bombs it away. Cameron Watson's heart would have skipped a beat there. Martinovic, oh, he's pulled up rough after that clearance. Joey Monek, the hero of Churchill Reserve, swings it in, but Rossi was cool and calm. Gust. Altona have not made a substitution since the injury-enforced departure of Darcy Anastovsky in the first half. It is a fairly youthful bench. There's not a lot of second-string cover. 19-year-old Filip Yevchevsky, joined by Matias Gonzalez and Gavin Tasevsky, so all under 21s. Daniel Di Francesco as well is in that lot.
No, don't do it. No. Are you doing a double?
Didn't reinforce in the mid-season window, Altona. They lost one of their top goal scorers to Preston in Jawad Rezai. So while they were the better side in the first half, the lack of coverage may hurt them. Mukashar in the O'Driscoll direction. Liberto. Good work from Joey Monek. A round of applause from the faithful on the hill. Fabrizio. His opening goal on 12 minutes feels like an eternity ago in this fixture. In truth, it's only been an hour. Delitas to Mukashar. Robbed of possession. Cabrera. Youthful eyes darting upwards, but finding no support. Picking out no teammates, but he's won it back well. A massive moment brewing here. Burns. Lucas Burns! And the fourth goal could have put this one beyond doubt. Lucas Burns has already played his role in influencing this game. And he would have loved to potentially seal it with his first goal in St Albans colours. And in the end, it will be his last touch in St Albans colours for today, as Alan Jerez, who we saw enter the field of play in the 68th minute last week, is on slightly later today, minute 76, while Luca Cabrera, whose goal started the comeback before the halftime break, is replaced by Josh Diven. The 19-year-old Tasmanian. Just 2 goals this year.
Josh's left.
6th consecutive sub-appearance. Altona, I believe, made a double substitution as well. Over the top. Anywhere will do for Marko Bulic, even if it costs a windshield for one of the home fans. Alex Gust has been replaced by Daniel Di Francesco. Filip Jovchevski, the 19-year-old, he's on as well. I believe in place of Nathan Liberto. So they are youthful subs for Goran Lozanovsky. We'll be hoping that the kids are all right as they look to make it 3-3.
Good job.
He's made plenty of attacking substitutions, Cam Watson, but you have to think at some point they will try and shut up shop and see it out to find their 4th on the break. It's Altona who need to show a bit more impetus. John Stachevski, Fabrizio, Mukashar, a risky pass, and lucks of fortune for Daniel Fabrizio, who checks onto the right. Fabrizio didn't sit, not able to repeat the trick of the opening 12 minutes and find his way onto the score sheet again. Heading towards the final 10 minutes. St Albans on course. For a mammoth 3 points. Their first win in 12 years at home against Altona in the league. And 3 points that would take them off the bottom of, or not off the bottom of the table, but they got off the bottom of the table last week. This would take them out of the bottom 2.
Mickey, are you okay? Yeah, I need you to be honest, yeah? Alright, good.
There may only be one relegated this season, depending on the fate of the National Second Division, or the commencement date of the National Second Division, I should say. But there's no guarantees as yet. And so ensuring that you finish outside the top 2, just to be safe, is very important. It's not as though Altona are just playing for pride in the final 10 minutes as well. 3 points would take them within 1 of a finals berth, and it would be back-to-back finals. How unlikely that seemed at the start of the season when they had just 3 players signed when Goran Lozanovsky took charge. Launched over the top. You can see what the idea was. Nelson Deshongo has been called out of the substitutes that were warming up for St Albans. Michael Martinovic was clutching at his quadricep earlier.
Get a couple of efforts.
That's a shocker from Jordan Delitis. Finals aspirations wouldn't be dead in the water, Altona, if they lose here today. They've got some winnable games in the final month of the season. Melbourne Knights next Friday, a tricky one, but then Moreland, Hume and Manningham United, so definitely 2 winnable games of that lot. And it's been a top 6 race where the last spot teams have been falling over themselves to get in there. And they will be battling with Melbourne Knights, battling with Dandenong City. Port Melbourne, it was theirs to lose a few months ago, and they have lost it. And they pull off some late heroics, Altona. Yevchevsky. Sovereign bumps it away. Mukashar, the clever turn. Freed his feet. DiFrancesco gets on the move. Haji. The fancy footwork of Ismail Haji, the crossover cooked. But Stoichevsky will keep it alive. Swings his boot around it, but couldn't keep it alive. And Buljuach cutting a very frustrated figure in the middle. He was creating some real problems for the Dinamo defence in the first half, particularly Lee Broxham. Had a pretty energetic battle. He's found they're going a lot tougher in the second half as their leading marksman. What a signing he's been, though. 10 goals, 3 assists in his first year in NPL Victoria. Going into this game, he'd scored 35 of all of Altona's goals for the season, so that's why they can't afford for him to have a quiet one. And there's openings available for St Albans. Monek, he's the man you want to have the ball, but he's been forced to retreat this time around. Great fancy footwork from Sovereign. King. Robbed of it. Francesco couldn't trap it. Lostanovsky places his head into his hands. Jerez. Divin got it trapped underneath his studs. Another substitution in the offing for Altona. And the Magic will need to pull it out of the hat in the final 7 minutes plus stoppage. Juach. Finally, he gets an involvement and swiftly wins a free kick. the former Druitt man. It's a bit shallow from Stochevsky. Mukashar to thread the needle for Juach. Delitas. Martinovic races forward to win it. Jerez sends Joey Monek on his way. And he just tries to hold it up and win a free kick, and it was expert from Joey Monek.
Well done. Bravo.
St Albans all-time NPL appearance maker, getting towards the 190 mark across the top flight, or the top couple of flights of NPL football. That includes what's now known as VPL 1. Di Fabrizio. Could he grab another against his former side? He's still going. Daniel Fabrizio. Good work by Marko Bulic to deny him.
Michael, next out's going to be sub-4 Altona, number 8.
He's really recovered from the error that led to the opening goal. He's come up with some important interventions.
Wait. Nelson up here. Up here. Yeah, Physio's going to go on first.
In this contest, the Bulic name,
Number 8 Altona's
pretty famous one
So you don't have to make it while it's down.
at Churchill Reserve. I'm fairly sure that his father is one of those fans you might see on the hill. Of course, it's a footballing family. Mila Bulic, his younger sister, playing at Bulleen.
Number 8 Altona also coming up.
A real battle with Jasko Karanovic earlier this season to take the number 1 jersey, but
Number 8 Altona also.
Stevie!
wrestled control of it, so much so that Jasko Karanovic is up and left the club. Ryan Mudalia was one of those signings in the mid-season window. It's Michael Martinovic, who had been pulling up sore on a number of occasions, is replaced by Nelson Tshongo. I believe a final substitution for Goran Lozanovsky. Gavin Tasevsky makes his first NPL Victoria appearance of the season. The 20-year-old has bounced between Green Gully and Altona's youth systems over the last couple of years. Mukashar got the eyes up, unloads, it bounces perfectly for Marko Bulic. It's the first NPL Victoria appearance for Gavin Tasevsky since his debut on the final day of the 2022 season. Green Gully against Dandy Thunder. Tshongo slips it to Jerez, and now Fowler has slipped the defence. No rush though from Dinamo. Fowler back to Jerez. Hasn't quite had the impact that he did last week against Heidelberg. Monek just pokes it. That's a bit of a cheap giveaway of possession. Does that open the door for Altona? We've had some finish to round 22 here in NPL Victoria, and the ball's filtered out to the far side. Saad Mukashar. Broxham, expert on a swing and a miss from Tasevsky. It's a real welcome back to NPL Victoria, but they win it back quickly, Altona. Mukashar is round 1. Haji turned into trouble. And Diven, he's got a solid frame and holds his line. Will Fowler be flagged offside? He will. Unfortunately for St Albans, Michael Mammis pulls back for the earlier infringement. It is almost at reach out and touch it territory for the home side now.
Joey, just stay narrow. Don't go in that bench too far. That's enough. Joey.
Potentially season-defining 3 points in the offing as we get set to enter stoppage time. We're 2-0 down after 24 minutes. They scored 2 goals in 6 minutes either side of the halftime break to level it up. And then 14 minutes later, they completed an incredible turnaround through an equally incredible goal from Joey Monek.
5.
And we'll get 5 extra minutes at Churchill Reserve.
It's good entertainment, Cam.
Fourth at this point would make it safe for St Albans.
Thank you.
Back-to-back wins for the first time this season. Back-to-back wins for the first time in Cam Watson's tenure. It would be as many wins as they managed in the opening 13 rounds of the season before he took over. Sovereign just watches that one over the line. All the substitutes have been made for both sides. It's on the 11s out there. I think we are at the point where Dinamo are just trying to do away with the stoppage time seconds. Maybe they've given up hope of a fourth unless it's handed to them. But for a few siders from range and one chance for Daniel Fabrizio. Haven't been able to show too much in their efforts to equalise. Here's a chance though. King!
Oh, it's a corner.
Just snapped at it. They appeal for a corner. They
Josh!
get a corner.
Josh!
Question is, will they actually send it into the area or will they take it short and look to lock it in? Josh Fowler and Joey Monek currently having that very question. Oh, and there's your answer. No interest in taking the corner whatsoever, as is their right, St Albans. The responsibility on the shoulders of Altona
Joey, just stay here.
to pull this one out of the fire.
Just fucking stay there.
We've used up 2 of
Just play into his
the
feet.
5 stoppage time minutes.
And then you go and do that.
O'Driscoll booms it forward, but Dib was strong in the air. Fabrizio left it for Di Francesco. They'll have one last push perhaps. Altona. It's wide on the right-hand side for Jovchevski. Di Francesco. It's a goal kick for St Albans. Hasn't been for lack of trying, Altona, but you just feel as though
Joey, you got 2.
the substitutes were required to come on and change this game at 3-2 down. The cupboard, with no disrespect to the youth talent that Altona have got, it's a little bit bare. It's lacking that game-changing experience that you need in a fixture like this. He's one of the most experienced men. And Joey Monek, who is set to be the hero once more. Jerez just holds his line. Monek presents wide. And they will take it into the corner once again. Oh no, Monek looked to do it all himself. Mukashar. Oh, a dangerous area. King! Blocked en route by Di Francesco. Every touch essential now. Final 60 seconds. It's pinballing around on the surface and above the surface. The last charge for Altona. Broxham heads away. Sovereign pumps away. And Rossi's off his line, sending it back from whence it came. Michael Mammis checked his watch. And Altona will get a throw. This is it for the Magic. Launched forward. Partially away by King. Go for one last push. It is so tense here at Churchill Reserve. Stochevski, a beautiful feint. A searching ball. Bulic, brilliant. Fully committed. Courageous. And it could be the intervention that seals it for the home side. Would have been a sore one. He had yellow Altona shirts closing at him from left and right, Marco Bulic. I reckon he would be a little bit winded after that one, but well within his rights to suck up all the seconds available to him by Michael Mammis. And it is now in his discretion as to how much time remains in this game. Bulic sends it forward. The miracle on Fox Street. 2-0 down after 24 minutes. 3-2 winners at the full-time whistle. A quite sensational switch around in fortunes from St Albans. And for the second successive week, Joey Monek, a living legend of Churchill Reserve, is the toast of the town once more. He was the hero against Heidelberg last week, and he is the man against the Magic this. There was plenty of other important ones, characters along the journey. Joey Monek's outrageous goal on the 64th minute is ultimately the decisive one, but after trailing 2-0 Altona, or to Altona early, goals from Daniel Fabrizio and Darcy Anasovsky, St Albans looked little to no chance of sealing back-to-back wins, but it was the exuberance of youth that got them back in the contest. Luca Cabrera got his first league goal for St Albans in first half stoppage, and they completed their turnaround, or they made it level in the blink of an eye. Either side of the break, Brian Summerskill scoring 5 minutes into the second half from the spot. And then 14 minutes later, Joey Monek with a goal from the heavens at Churchill Reserve. His second match winner in as many weeks to seal St Albans' first league win against Altona here at Churchill Reserve in 12 years. A piece of history and a game that could go down in history as one that helps to save St Albans from relegation. What a fixture to round out round 22. It's been an absolute pleasure to join you for it on the NPL Victoria YouTube page. Lockie Flanagan signing off for the weekend. The final score here from a thriller at Churchill Reserve. St Albans Saints 3, Altona Magic 2.